Scientists, let's talk about how to do a works cited page for science. Okay, very first thing you need to do is make sure you have Noodle Tools set up. A lot of you have already used Noodle Tools, but just a really quick reminder, you go to noodletools.com, you sign in using your regular old Gmail type stuff, right? So it's your username and your password for all of your Google stuff for school. And then you get into this kind of like dashboard where you can go ahead and create a new project. Okay, so you're gonna hit that green button on the top right for new project, and we're just gonna fill it out. So for science, we wanna make it the science title. For this one, it's scientist study, but later on you might do a cell model or an astronomy model or whatever. Science does use APA. So we're going to go ahead and practice using APA. There are some rare instances where they use MLA. It kind of goes back and forth. But for our purposes, we want to use APA for this. And I do think junior is the best place for you guys to start. So go ahead and hit APA in junior. And then you hit submit. All right, there you go. You have your project. You can confirm that it's APA and it's junior. Now, let's go ahead and add a source. All right, so to get a source onto your project, you've clicked on your project that says scientist study. And now you go up to, again, to that top right corner and you hit the green button that says new source. Now for most of our stuff, we're going to add a website. So I would go ahead and hit website and I would hit web page. It's tricky because some of the things I give you might be like a presentation, but it's a presentation on a website. It's not something you viewed or heard live. Like if you went to a TED Talk, you might cite the TED Talk that you heard live. But look, under website, we have television programs, video clips, like any YouTube video would go under video clip, magazines, online newspapers, journals, all kinds of stuff. But most of the time, we can just use website because it will fit most of our purposes for 6th grade science. All right, this is a little bit tricky because the first one I'm going to ask you to do is when you're citing a source that I wrote. Now, every single one of our scientist study things I created in some way, and you can know that because when you look at them, like this one for Dr. Sasha Rollin, I am the person that owns the document. Sometimes it says it's created by DPS 109 science teachers. That means I made it with other people that weren't just me. So you can credit DPS 109 science teachers, but for this one, you can consider me the author of this. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to need is the URL. So you go up to the top of the Dr. Sasha Rollin thing, if that's the one you're citing, and you copy the entire URL. Okay, the next thing would be the date, and normally dates are either found at the top or the bottom of the work. There is no date at the top slide. There is no date at the bottom. So when it says date of publication, we can't put anything in there because we don't know. And that's okay. Sometimes it might just have the year. If it has the year, you write the year. If it has the month in the year, write the year. If it has nothing, month and year. If it has nothing, write nothing. And then you want to do the most recent date of access, and there's a really nice little quick link here. If you click it, it'll fill in the date for you. All right, the next section is the author, and you're going to have to select that I am the author. Again, a lot of people like to do DPS 109 science teachers if that's what it says on the work, right? If it's this one, you can consider me the author. And you can write Mrs. Boudreau in the last name or group. That's actually where you'd put like an organization like DPS 109 science teachers that isn't like a person's name. You could put it in last name or group. But you put my first name there as well. You actually, it's not required to have an author. Like if you don't have an author, you skip over it. If you don't want to put me as the author, that's fine, you skip over it. But remember to select author. Okay. Then the next thing it's asking for is the web page title. I'll come back to that yellow box in just a second. So you go and you copy and paste the title, Dr. Sasha Rollin, astrophysicist, and you put it in. Now, this is where it's going to check you, and what it's asking me is, should I change the case of Sasha and Rollin? Because it's not sure if they're names. I know they're her names. So do you guys. So they are supposed to be capitalized. But have a little look and read the little warning boxes it came up with. I actually took and I made astrophysicist not capitalized, and it told me it had to capitalize it. So I changed it back. Okay? Be smarter than the machine. It's just a suggestion. It's not sure if these are names. You know that that's her name. You can ignore this yellow warning. All right. Now from here, when we get everything done, hey, there's the bell. Go ahead and click on Save. And your citation looks something like this. Now, remember how I tell if you don't watch the video? Or how I can tell if you don't watch the video and I know that you've done it wrong? Yeah. If you don't have something that looks like this, I know you've done it wrong. Okay. Now let's run through another example of just citing a regular source. Okay. Most people will just have one source for this one using the scientist and my person that they found with my source. So if yours just looks like this is totally fine. But let's say you thought it was really interesting to go read this article that was about Dr. Sacha Rollin. So you in here and you're like, oh, cool, this is a nice little article that has some good information about her. How do you cite that? Well, same thing. We hit new source. It is absolutely a web page or website, and we're going to go ahead and hit web page again because it's absolutely that. And then we're going to need that URL. Plug that in. This one does have a date of publication. It's July 11th, 2022. It also has an author, so I'm going to remember that for later. And I'm going to put the date in. I didn't apparently put the 11 in. Yay. And then I'm going to hit today, so it has the most recent date of access. I know there is an author, so I selected author and I put her in there. And then I went and copied the title, which was, A Minute with Sacha Rollin, Observational Cosmetologist, and pasted it in there, and it came up with that red flag again, yellow flag again, that said, are you sure these aren't names? Should they be capitalized? Yes, they should. I'm going to be smarter than the machine. And then I added one more thing for this official website. So this website is from Fermilab. It says it at the top here. You can tell, Fermilab. And so then I went and added name of website here for Fermilab. So when you're doing something like a YouTube video, the name of the YouTube video is the article title. The website name is youtube.com. Okay, and then I hit save. So I'm now done with my citations, right? I've got 2 really good sources here. They both look great. So how do I get it onto my science project? Because you can only turn in one science project. You turn in your rubric that's highlighted and one science project. It's real easy, but you got to find the right button. All right, so I've got my citation. I'm in Scientist Study, and I have to find the share button, and it kind of hides right there at the top of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and click that button, and I'm going to look, and it says Print Export to Google Docs. Well, that sounds like the best possible option here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Print Export to Google Docs, and it's going to ask me a funny question about whether or not I want to do only certain sources. For science, always do all sources. So just click all and then hit submit. And then it kicks out this amazing little document, that has your sources on it. Now, you're going to want to move this by clicking the move folder icon, and you can move it right to your science folder. But once you've done that, you can copy and paste it, and you can put it right on your science project. Wait a minute, Budro. You had something about a thank you page. What's that all about? You guys, this is so easy. Just make a little page that talks about all the different people in the room that helped you, right? If someone gave you a good tip or read your work or helped you edit or taught you how to use Canva, just put a nice little section that says thank you to these people for helping me. It's just kind of a nice thing to do. All right, that's how you use Noodle Tools and write a thank you page. Good luck, scientists.